And we're back.
What it do, baby?
Like we never left. How are we living? How are we living today, man?
You know, Jacob, it's about to be the year anniversary of the last time I got my hair cut. And you know what I'm saying? Listen, we see dark days, but look. If you, I can't even get a barber right now because it's COVID. I'm not even in the market for a barber. But
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? If you're a loved one of mine and you know how to shape up a mustache, you know what I'm saying? You know how to do a little something to the sides, please. I need you. You know what I'm saying? We are in dire need of each other. Please.
You can't.
The undergrowth is real, yo.
You can't let just anybody cut your shit though. My partner definitely could shave my shit. I don't know why I haven't. Like, it's bad though. Like my mustache hairs are starting to go into my nose. So the nose hairs and mustache hairs are about to tag team. Like, I'm
starting to look like an op. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to look like big undercover cop energy. Like, we gotta thin it out a little bit.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the most cringy undercover cop story I have?
Just story time right now. Go.
All right, so I was on the Q train with my brother. We were headed back home to Flatbush, and you know how the Q goes over the Manhattan Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So over the Manhattan Bridge, we're both just like on our phones, like talking bullshit, sharing memes. It was probably like 4 years ago, like my first year of college, 4 or 5 years ago. And this white dude comes up to us and he's like, "Hey, do you guys know where the weed ciphers are?" We're just like, bro,
get the fuck out of here.
What is that? He's like, where you stand in a circle and you
puff pass.
You smoke some weed, and we were like, nah, bro, we can't help you, bro. We can't.
Get the fuck out of here. At 4 a.m., that's desperate. Homeboy need to reach a quota at that point.
Exactly. I was just like, oh my fucking God, what are you doing, bro? But yeah.
Miss me with all that.
Yeah, that's my cringiest undercover cop story. I don't know if you have one as well, but
not cringy. I remember one time I was walking with my brother, and it was late, and we were dressed like you know what I'm saying. We had the penguin pajama pants on. Just outside real quick, like not even trying to be out there, and it was like 6 of them in his van, and they drove by us, and I was like, I seen the New Jersey Devils, the hockey team. I seen the fucking hoodie, and I was like, nah, he's an undercover cop. Damn, we about to get put up on. They put the shit in reverse, hopped out the car, and just like had us up on the car. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, and he's like, do you have for just walking? He was like, oh, do you have a weapon? I'm like, bro, do I look like I have a fucking weapon? Like, I'm out here and knock off fake Nike slides, you know what I'm saying? Penguin pajama pants and no pockets and a t-shirt. Where am I gonna hide a weapon, bro? True wilding.
What?
I was like, y'all are so goofy for that.
That's some goofball shit. I mean, that falls perfectly in line
but
with
it's on
theme!
It's on theme!
Yeah, it's on theme. But before we get to today's main topic, is there anything you want to say to the people? It's been a while. I know y'all missed us. We missed you all so much. Is there anything you want to say to the people?
Listen, we're back with 2 very special back-to-back January episodes for y'all. You know what I'm saying? We have something planned for you before we take a little hiatus, so stay tuned. And thank you, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate it.
And thanks for tapping back in, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know y'all are going to get that Instagram notification of like, SBC is posted, or Shortway Crew is posted for the first time in a while. So like, shout outs to y'all for being real ones and tapping on that. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate all the support. And like Moke said, we're going to be taking a month-long break after, this is episode 5. So after episode 6 airs, we will have some very special guests that we can't tell y'all yet. It's hush-hush. So, you know what I'm saying?
Stay tuned. Season finale.
We're very excited. We're going to come in looking dapper. That's all we'll say. But for today's theme, it seems like it's been the theme of the week. We'll just let this quick little video explain what the fuck happened, and then Moke will lead us right into it. Alright, we back.
White devils be crazy. God damn. Basic summary. I don't even know how to even talk about what happened. What happened with this Capitol Hill shit? If you had to give like a 2-3 sentence summary,
I would say treason was attempted. Simple as that, bro. Treason was attempted by the country's most privileged racial group. That's what happened. That's the best I got for you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I mean, it's kind of wild when you say it out loud, but yeah, during a Senate hearing to confirm the like legal and lawful election of President-elect Joe Biden, white nationalist militia stormed the fucking Capitol building.
Correction, they did not storm. They waited patiently and got their Eventbrite tickets scanned by the ops, and then they were cordially allowed to do as they pleased. Like, that's what happened.
The thing is, it is kind of wild though, because when you look at some of the footage that's been coming out recently, of like the event, you see like the video we just showed, you know, people trying to scale the walls, and it's like, y'all didn't even need to do all that. They was letting you in. They was opening the door, be like, hey, come on in, or stepping aside. Like, y'all didn't need to do all that climbing and jumping, and ain't nobody tell you to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But it's really, I don't know. It's been, I've been thinking a lot about it, partially because of political scope, like the political implications that apparently now disgruntled members of society and like really like disgruntled domestic terrorists can pull up to the Capitol and fully like almost have access to, you know, U.S. congressional members. Like, that in itself is wild. Yeah. But something that really stands out to me is like, who was there, right? Who was a part of this mob, so to speak, that fully just pulled up on the government. And I want to get into that a little bit, because I think my biggest gripe with how we talk about Trump supporters is the fact that they're often framed as the uneducated sect of the like white populace who are either misguided or misenfranchised or just don't know any better, right? Is a lot of classist rhetoric like, oh, these white folks think this because they're poor and because there's their occupations or they live in these places. But when you look at, again, just some of the people who are now starting to get charged and getting federal charges for their participation in this attack and destruction of property. I'm just looking at some notes here. I have Derek Evans, West Virginia lawmaker, has a federal got arrested for, you know, the federal crime recently. At least one member of the NYPD is under investigation for taking part, and you know there's just more than one. You know there was more than one NYPD police officer there, but at least one. It's because he was wearing an Islanders jersey. That's how you know what I'm saying? That's what that was. But at least one member of the NYPD, you know what I'm saying? People with ties to QAnon, neo-Nazis, neo-Confederates, anti-Semitics, people part of anti-Semitic groups, rather. You know, you have people in public services, officials, general citizens. Like, these are people from all walks of white society and, like, social occupations, class occupations. Like, it is a holistic representation of white society that is fully invested in what Trump is selling, in what Trump is upholding, in this kind of white nationalist political agenda that has been for the Republican Party for at least since Obama was elected, really, honestly. And I think that that's telling, right? That it's not just this little sect of white people. It's not just little sect of white society. Like, we really have to be real that 74 million people, over 74 million people voted for this man. Over 74 million people are invested in, to some degree, this ideology of white supremacy as one of the main staples of what this administration is actioning around.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's so many excuses of, oh, that's my grandparents, they're old, you know what I'm saying? Or, oh, these people don't know any better. It's like, it's not just a small fragment or sect of like the larger white society in the US.
Yeah, and it's not just a flash in the pan either, because I feel like from a historical perspective, you could make the argument that's been going on forever, which is true, but just in terms of how things look in our zeitgeist, like you can make the argument that it really started with like Reaganism, like because for me that's the first time you see a major political party in the U.S. be like, our party is this person, because like I mean,
Mm,
even growing up, it was like Reaganism. Like it was like he was the guy everybody wanted to be, and now
mm-hmm.
Trumpism is a thing, and it's like it. Even that idea of like a political party latching it on to somebody like their deity is like very modern, like republicanism, but it's still like kind of a newish idea, but it has been around for like 40 or so years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that cult of personality thing.
yeah, so I mean, in terms of like how I'm
Oh, I'm so close, Daddy.
I'm crying, yo. Oh man.
Oh man. I don't know. Should I explain that or should I just
Yeah,
keep
you
moving
gotta
on?
explain that, bro.
All right, I'm in the hot seat now. All right, so basically, I learned on TikTok that you can, in the shortcuts app on your iPhone, you can set up automations. So I set up two automations. One that whenever I plug in my phone, because I have the humor of a 5-year-old, so I'm always like, oh, I'm plugging it into the butt, ha 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 ha. So I fucking made it so that every time I put my phone to charge, it says "Thank you, Daddy," and whenever it hits 75%, it says "I'm so close, Daddy." So this has nothing to do with white nationalism. It's just me being a fuckboy. Do what you will and want with that information.
Hey, radical honesty. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it a buck on the podcast.
Look, you know what I'm saying? But fuck, where was I going?
So how you feeling about? You're saying talking about how you're feeling about the situation, white nationalists, but specifically how white nationalism is an ideology,
Yeah.
and an action item, really.
Yeah.
That people across all spectrums of white society.
And I think the thing to remember and the key point with what you were saying about white people that have all these different occupations is that these are white people that you're gonna deal with in every facet of living. Like no matter where you go as a person in this country, but specifically as a Black person, a person of color, or Indigenous American person, you're going to deal with white people, with these kinds of white people, like white supremacists. And it's not just when you're taking a road trip and driving through more rural areas. It's like, nah, like when you go to sign up for unemployment, if you're going to have a public defender, because
Right?
you can't, you can't afford to have a lawyer. If you can afford to have a lawyer, they might have marched if you're going to any business, because there are business owners out there. Like, basically, you don't know who's who, and a lot of big businesses as well have recently withdrawn their political contributions to Trump's campaign and team and the GOP or whatever. But it's like, nah, you were invested in this, and you're only pulling out now for the same reason that all white people put the black square in June. Like,
Yeah,
so
it is the same kind of like too little, too late virtue signaling.
yeah, and that's putting it mildly too, because it's like I don't know if you remember, but when this motherfucker Trump got elected, the white rhetoric was basically like, well, let's give him a chance. How bad is it going to be? Let's just see what happens. And I remember for me at that time, and even now, it's like, well, you can give him a chance because you're not actively in danger, or you're not on the front lines of danger. But now it's just so interesting to see everybody be like this is what it took for everybody to say, hey, this guy was a bad idea.
And
But
it's like,
everything
give him
else,
so I didn't mean to cut you
you know,
off.
no, I was just going to say, but everything else, wasn't enough to say, let's get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and it's like, I hate people. Yeah. Okay, so two thoughts. First point, I think that's really astute. And the fact that let's give him a chance was after, his super violent misogynistic language, his super violent predatory language, his super violent racist language. Like, all of that is happening prior to him getting elected, right? So there's no way that people could now, 4 years later, be like, well, we don't what escalated this far, or this is the thing that is a travesty. Like, this man has been consistent from jump about what he's on, and all he's done is what he said the fuck he was gonna do. You know what I'm saying? All he's prioritized is the things that he said he was gonna prioritize. And so for me, it feels disingenuous for it feels disingenuous and a little bit irritating, honestly, that a federal building has to be broken into, putting that quotations, because some folks are literally just let through the front door. To be like, oh, wow, this rhetoric could have violent consequences. Like, no shit. Where the fuck have you been?
It's crazy, too, because Trump is literally like an 80s action movie villain. Like, he told you straight up, like, here's my plan.
He told you,
and everybody was just like, I wonder what he's gonna do. I wonder what's gonna end. It's like he told you off rip, bro. So you're totally right. It's aggravating to see, honestly.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think about some of the images that have come up so far from the actual event. Because there were a lot of photojournalists who are still there. Again, people while the pandemic is still going on, showing up maskless, but I don't know, there's been a lot of really interesting photographs that are starting to emerge from that. And I'm wondering if you've seen any, or any stood out to you, or just what you think about some of the imagery that's coming out of and honestly kind of defining what this event was.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question. I have two quick thoughts. The first one being seeing, there's that image that's been circulating of the Confederate flag, the dude holding it in the halls of the Capitol. Seeing that, and this ties into my next point, which is that journalists have been trying to make the point that even though this is harmful and Trump needs to be impeached right away and there need to be consequences and arrests, I feel like there's a rhetoric that's also bubbling of well, they got there and they didn't quite know what to do. So it's not that bad, right? Some people got hurt, but not too many. But to literally see the Confederate flag in the halls of Congress, for a lot of people, that's a successful call to action. Because let's keep it a $1.50. If I'm not the rah-rah American nigga, but Confederates are the enemy of the people. Literally, we're just keeping it a buck in terms of what the U.S. is not a Confederate country. So when they broke off, they openly and actively said, we are enemies of the United States and what, the U.S. of A stands for, even with all its contradictions. So to look at that and see the other symbols, like the 6MWE, which I'm not going to say what that stands for, just, to see QAnon people out there, seeing that, if I'm a racist or white supremacist, I'm looking at that this was successful, which leads to my second point of some publications. Looking at you, New York Times, you were the first place where I saw this rhetoric of just being well, nothing happened, so it wasn't that bad, even though it's still dangerous. And it's no, I've been saying this during Trump's whole presidency. He's ignited something where all it takes is somebody who's actually smart. All they have to do is pick up the reins. All it has to do is be somebody who's just as enigmatic, but also really fucking smart to just take that spot. And then it's a wrap. So if anything, looking at that, it was distressing to see during the day, just because in my mind, at least, and I think a lot of our minds were that's supposed to be the most, second most secure building in the U.S. after the White House. Like, so it's distressing on that front because we pay what? Trillions of dollars on defense, and the Defense Department openly said the day after, like, yeah, we knew about it, but like we didn't want them there because of the optics, like we didn't want to pull up because of the optics. So it's like, okay, like, so it's upsetting on that front, but then it's also upsetting on the other front because, like, I'll say specifically, if you're a Black person looking at those images, like, it's a moment where you probably have either one of two reactions, which is, I'm going to just let the white folks deal with white folk business, or it's like, nah, it's time to strap up. Because seeing that, a lot of people, specifically white people, are going to look at that and be like, it's time, bro.
It's our moment.
So,
take me off the bench, coach.
No, literally, and that's how I feel about the imagery. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with both of those points. I think I also have two thoughts. One was the fact, I guess, like the range of images and how they complement each other, right? Because again, there was the Confederate flag, there was the like swastika that was present a lot as well. Some of those shirts that were essentially calling for increased, like, anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, like, genocide, and alluding to the Holocaust. And, you know, people with the NYPD hats with the American flag. And all of these images and all of these different ideologies are present in this, and Trump flags, right? So all of these kind of ideologies are complementing each other, and these symbols of these various white nationalist and fascist ideologies are complementing each other. And yet all of the people who are, at least speaking so far from different things that I've read, are describing themselves as patriots, as true Americans. And it brings me back to the 74 million people who voted for Trump. And so much of the rhetoric that I've been hearing from the Biden Biden campaign administration, I don't know what the technical term is now, but from Biden's camp, and from a lot of centrists and right-wing Democrats, honestly, is how, it's time for us to heal. It's time for us to come together as a nation, and not in a way that honors or attends to the violence of this past summer or the violence of the past 400 years of settler colonialism, right? But in a way that placates to these white nationalist fascists. Like, I'm supposed to reach across the aisle with, you know, the motherfuckers carrying the Confederate flags and the swastikas and the allusions to genocide. Right? And I think
literally enemies
enemies of the state. Enemies of the state, even though the state is on some bullshit too, but like enemies to my people, enemies to me, you know what I'm saying? Enemies to my community.
Yep.
And so I'm really, and this, I guess, is to my second point, looking at some of the those images, it makes me really concerned about the price of this alleged, right? Who does this piece come at the expense of? Because any deal, any environment where we have to compromise to the requests and needs and wants of white nationalist supremacists, white supremacists, we in trouble. You know what I'm saying? We in trouble. And it's frustrating to me. I think this kind of leads into Biden's response in particular, that this is such a brazen display of like white supremacist aggression can be present, and the first thing out his mouth is, we're so much better than this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has so much shit to say when you say defund the police, and everybody wants to talk about how that's divisive, how we need to shift our language, how we need to see the other side. But when you got niggas pulling up to your backyard, it's, we're so much better than this, you know? And it's just like, if we have trouble at this stage naming and denouncing white supremacists and white supremacy and you know, militia groups that can enact harm and have enacted harm. People act like Dylan Roof doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kenosha shooter doesn't exist. Like we aren't seeing how these white militias are already starting and have been perpetuating harm. Shit, look at the Klan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go back to the Klan and that organization. Like the response to it has been really disheartening. Because it's like, damn, y'all don't get it. And
if I may, from what you just said, everything is all facts. I think the two things I'm walking away with that I've not realized is you're 1,000% right of like, we've known about these militia groups, these quote unquote rogue white boys going around terrorizing the country forever now. But particularly in a modern context, like the last 10, 20 years, for every, Black life, lost, there's been like 95 to 100% chance that there's a white terrorist behind it. Like, in terms of like, police shootings or mass shootings, like, even if it's not Black lives, but just mass shootings in general, which, again, to note, did not really happen last year because of the pandemic. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's fucked up in its own right. But I think it's worth remembering that even when you hear about like Black lives being lost in that violent way, that also is terrorism. But I also wanted to specifically touch on how you're talking about like the Biden team placating towards white supremacy and being like, we need to reach across the aisle, we need to heal. When you were talking, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're more of an academic student of history than me. For those that don't know, I went to college for music and whatever. But in my mind, when I was hearing him say that, I was like, isn't this basically what the U.S. government did with, like, in terms of ending Reconstruction? Like, in terms of being like, yo, I know we did this for like 200 years, but like, we like need to move on because like, it's time to heal and da-da-da. And so in my mind, when I was hearing him say that, I was like, this is just like, we've already done this.
Yes.
And it didn't work. It didn't work, bro.
It's literally the response after the Civil War, because it was described as this war between brothers. And so the effort after the Civil War was unifying the house of this great nation and bringing families back together and just kind of let bygones be bygones type of thing and moving on. And so it's the same rhetoric. And also, again, just thinking about Biden's presidency, this idea of, we'll elect him and then let's hold him accountable. We have to remember that the state is never going to hold itself accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's white supremacy is foundational to like the construction of the U.S. nation state. So they're not going to tell the white supremacists to chill the fuck out because they're operating from similar or identical frameworks. And I think that's such a good like historical point to point out because again, motherfuckers can wave the Confederate flag in this country because we never handled that shit. The state never handled that shit properly. You can't wave a swastika in Nazi Germany. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that shit. You can wave it here though. And it just speaks to it total lack of accountability, total lack of addressing the root of the situation. So you're entirely right. It's the same fucking logic.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a moment where you hate to be right because even though I do prefer having Biden in office rather than Trump, I've had a lot of worries off rip from the start of the presidential campaign and election and everything. And my biggest worry right now is that they probably will placate to the white supremacists. I'm also worried that because of this like egregious display of like unpatriotism or whatever the word for that is, that a lot of the things Biden promised are quote unquote more progressive won't be pushed as hard. When in reality, you have, out of the two major parties, you have one that's literally like we know we're like statistically we're in the minority in terms of people who will vote for us, but we're doing everything in our power to make sure that the majority A can't vote, and B that when we have power, we're gonna get everything we want through. Like, so for me, I'm just even confused even on just like a strategic front. Like, because if it's like, okay, these motherfuckers basically everything Obama could have accomplished, even though I have my quarrels with him as well, they were like, nah, we finna dead as much as that shit as we can. On site, DOA. I don't care if he has the cure to cancer, fuck dead that shit, bro. So for me, I'm looking at this shit like, so why would you placate to them? They would never do the same for you, A, and then B, I just can't even wrap my mind around it, except for the fact of just, well, white supremacy has been the de facto. That's the only thing that's making it make sense for me, because it just doesn't make sense.
It is the de facto, and I think that now we're at a point where there's no excuse, right? Because the House is democratically controlled, the Senate is democratically controlled, Democratic president, right? You have everything you need to pass the shit you want to pass and do the shit that you want to do. And I think that when Obama was in a similar predicament, I mean, I was way younger then, so I didn't have any political analysis really of what the fuck was going on. But there was a lot of shit I think that we as people, we as black folks especially, we're like, yo, he's there. You know what I'm saying? He's there. Like, that in itself is a win. So I don't think we really took advantage of the moment. But now I feel like a lot of us, especially in black communities, looking at how the election panned out, looking how the Georgia runoffs panned out, right, and how it was black voters that really secured those victories, we're aware of the political stakes. We're aware of what we need, what our communities need to attend to, and that we put in those positions. So I think that it's really on us now to say, look, we put y'all here, right? We equipped you with everything you need to do what the fuck you said you were going to do. Do that, or it's protests, it's boycotts, it's strikes, it's whatever. Like, we don't have time to wait around and see if these people are gonna do what they said they're going to do. I think he has everything he needs right now to prioritize what he's going to prioritize. And it's going to be very clear in those first 100 days. It's going to be very clear if he's about it or if he's not. And if he's not, general strike. General strike, you know?
Yeah.
That's simple.
No, literally. Like, I mean, it basically it's just run that motherfucking check, boy. Like, that's where we're at. Yeah, run the stimmy. We need more money for bi-weekly unemployment payments. Like, niggas need them 10 racks, if not more, taking off their student loans. You know what I'm saying? We need a better version of Obamacare. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, we need the motherfucking reparations, bro. Like we need, like, that shit don't need to be no discussion. That shit don't need to be no better health programs and resources. Nah, that shit need to be $23 million to however much that is in the bank account right now, bro. Like, and it doesn't sound ridiculous when you think about the fact that if not for enslavement, there wouldn't be any infrastructure. I would say, before we get to our shout outs and our closing things, I just want to implore people and remind people that just because this nigga Trump is out of office, that does not mean the fight's over. It does not mean anything's changed. Just because it's 2021, the pandemic is not over. Like, we're gonna hit a year anniversary in 2 months. Like, shit is still awful out here. Like we're finding joy, we're finding community in unexpected ways, but we got to keep it $1.50. It ain't looking sweet out here. But like Moke said, we need to hold our nationally elected officials accountable as well as our locally elected officials accountable. I know in New York, like, there's gonna be a new mayor soon. I know in Chicago, our mayor fucking sucks. So we just gotta hold our people accountable. And we have
the means to do so. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, we are the source of power. You know what I'm saying? Us, the people, community,
Yeah.
like really lean in and tap into that because there's so much change that we can impact. So much change that we can impact. And so like join a community organization. Really tap in with the people around you, even just like with your friends, right? Like just try and get engaged where you can, because I really do think that there's so much change that um oh man, it's like that chant. I love the people united will never be defeated. You know what I'm saying? There's so much change that we can impact collectively together. So tap in with your loved ones, look out for each other, protect each other.
Yeah. And with that, we're gonna close out, and I'm just curious. I feel like going into this year, I didn't see too much New Year, New Me. Like, so I was happy about that. So instead of going down, that cliched or hackney route or whatever, what are some of your wishes for the new year?
Ushiest of gushiest, just ushy gushy love. That's really what I want to really make my loved ones, you included, you know what I'm saying, especially you, like make my loved ones feel that love consistently despite of everything that's going on. And my wish is that I could read 50 books this year. We gonna try.
Okay.
I wish that for me.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
What about you?
Ooh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm drinking my detox tea, y'all. So shit is coming up.
Bubble guts.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I got a few. Definitely want to read more this year. I'm reading The Vanishing Half right now, and Pharrell's book, Fish Doesn't Know It's Wet. Both are fantastic. Highly recommend. My goal is just to, eat better, live better. So, you know what I'm saying? Got detox tea. I didn't finish my green juice from earlier, but I will. Or Strex Love Gravy, as Jumoke calls it. But my actual, serious New Year's wishes are to, for me, I want to create communities where everybody's held accountable and is putting up their fair share of I always look at shit in basketball analogies, but everybody's putting up their fair share of stats. Not everybody needs to be leading scorer or do this or that. If you whatever your role is, get in where you fit in. It's kind of how I feel, and just being malleable to play a different position or try to chase after a different stat. Is really what I'm looking for this year. It's just being able to push people. But not from a place of stress, just from a place of being yo, I'm learning. We're just figuring it out. But you can tell when that effort's there and when somebody's just trying to coast by. So
yeah,
no more free Randy. Is how I'm feeling. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of ums right now, y'all. I'm just thinking off the dome. And outside of that, I think I also really want to focus on moi. I feel like a lot of times we don't put ourselves first when we should. And, that's when you just start to coast, and then you start to feel unsatisfied with things or whatever. And a lot of that dissatisfaction comes from us not taking care of ourselves, So,
amen.
Yeah, I texted the SBC boys in the group chat earlier today. I had to take care of myself, even though it was a questionable decision by drinking 2.5 espressos and playing Doom and fucking up demons and shit. I've been taking care of myself by not smoking weed at all.
Come on now.
Took care of myself yesterday by buying some dumbbells and some resistance bands. Because, the 70 push-ups in the morning weren't cutting it anymore. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't doing it. But no, seriously, just take care of yourself is what I wish for myself, but I wish for everybody in my ethos. And even those who aren't, who are just tapping in from wherever the fuck you at. I hope you're taking care of yourself.
Hey, Ashe.
Yeah. So you want to close this out, boy?
Ashe. Hey, you know where to find us? Actually, I'm not even on social media right now, so if you DM me, I won't even know. But the socials are, of course, follow the Short Boy Crew page. Mm-hmm. Follow me, Jumoke Akil, Jumoke Akil, or just tap in. My shit is public, so you don't gotta follow. Just snoop and whatever. Jacob, where can the people find you?
Yeah, y'all can find me anywhere. Young Savoye. at Young Savoye. YUNGSAVOYE. You know.
Sing song.
Yeah, it's Young Savoye, aka Young Bread Maker, aka Green Juice Magoose, aka might pull up on your mommy because I'm a daddy. Coming to you live from Chicago, but I'm a Brooklyn baby for life. You definitely follow Twitter, Instagram, Shortboy Crew. Can't say what we'll be getting into for the rest of the year, but there is going to be new content, new shit coming soon.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so be ready. This spring is gonna be a lot more fun, a lot more sunny than last year because y'all gonna have us, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do my shout outs real quick. Moke do his and get the fuck out of here. Scammers, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to do this. I gotta leave y'all behind, bro. I got to. I'm currently unemployed and I can't have the feds watching me. So you know what I'm saying? If you need some socials, you can of course DM me on WhatsApp. See me out here.
Is that on the encrypted messaging?
We can talk, you know what I'm saying? I got a VPN. We'll figure it out. But for real, I want to give a shout out, to the homies, the family, them, so shout outs Moke, Bisa, Milo, SBC, shout outs to my partner and our editor, Ray, shout outs to my mom, my brother, my father, my little baby brother, who he's not going to hear this, but shout outs to him. His name turned 3 in like 2 months. Shout outs to my cats. They always fucking each other up and fucking up my sleep pattern. I don't have one right now. And for real, shout outs to everybody who's listened to the podcast, who's a first time listener, a return listener, who's, coming to fuck with us again. And, shout outs to everybody who's listening to the music as well. Yeah, we appreciate y'all. We're working hard for y'all. We're going to come back with even better content in March? April?
We'll see.
You'll
see when you see.
You gonna find out.
You'll see when you see.
Yeah, Moke, bring us home, boy.
I would give a shout out to my family, but we're currently in a ping pong tournament, and I have 0 wins. I'm 0 for 10 right now, so the family not getting no shout outs today. Honestly, hot take. Shout out BTS. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't got, you know what I'm saying, the K-pop band BTS.
No, I know.
We're not gonna get into it today, but you know what I'm saying? I've been put on by a dear love of mine. You know what I'm saying? A dear love of mine has put me onto game, and I'm not gonna lie, that last album was pretty good. So shout out BTS. Shit.
Actually, wait. Let me stop because we'll get super hate if I'm laughing. We love you, BTS.
No, we do. We do. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We'll see you for our season finale. Next episode, our season finale. Next week. And stay blessed, stay safe. Love y'all.
Bye.